shit house. And it was the funniest thing because, because he won a pot even when he wasn't at the table because of me. Now immediately he says, what's that game over there? And I said, well, it's 75-150 or high-low split, 5100 8 or better stud. He said, here, and he gives me 1500 and I jump in that game. And I win like 4,000 in that game and split it. So now I get 2,000 of that money. So just by picking up that one hand, I had a bankroll again. I was back in action. But after that hand, Stewie and I became pretty close, but one thing I admired about Stewie is he was so big in the drug world and I was completely anti-drugs. He never ever would bring me into that world, would never have me come around. Now there was a few times in the 90s, where I must say, he wouldn't bring me in the world, but he would call me when he was desperate, when he was walking in downtown where the drug things was. And he'd call me at 3 a.m. and say, Mike, he said, can you come and get me? Can you come and get me? I said, yes. And my girlfriend said, you can't go down there. No, you'll get killed. I said, I can't leave him down there. I got to go get him. So I got up and I drive down there and I pick him up and I bring him back and I take him to a motel somewhere out on Boulder Highway. And I say, now, Stu, you cannot tell anybody that you're here. Nobody's got to know where you are. I'll come back tomorrow. I'm going to check on you. Boom, boom, boom. And the next thing I know, he calls me and, and so I go out there. Well, now he called his drug dealer and the drug dealer brought him more drugs. And so now he owed more money to the drug dealers. And, then I had to move him to another hotel. Eventually moved him to the Gold Coast Hotel where he stayed there for like 3 months. And I put it on my Diners Club card because I didn't have money to pay for him really at that time. And the saddest thing about Stewie was, it was time for school to start. And he was staying at the Gold Coast Hotel. And I was paying it with it on my credit card. And he said, can I have some money? I got to buy my daughter some school clothes. And at that point, no poker players could give him money anymore. You just couldn't give him money because he'd spend it on drugs and whatnot. I said, Stewie, I won't give you money, but I'll give you my J.C. Penney card. And you can charge $300 on it, It's emotional to me because he took that $300 and he charged it on the credit card so he could get his daughter school clothes. He said, and he was in tears. He was like crying. He said, can you imagine all the millions that I've gone through in my lifetime and I don't have money to buy my daughter school clothes? He said, it's just pathetic. And he was just so sad. He said, I really believe if I'd have given him $1 million, it didn't mean more to him than I gave him so he could buy those clothes for his daughter. And so I was glad I could help him there a little bit. And, but it was sad to see him. Yeah, I'm okay. But it was just sad to see that he'd gone through so much and yet was in that predicament at the end of his life, so to speak, and he realized how much he'd screwed up in life at that point. It really hit him. I mean, that's what really hit him more than anything else. Being broke, not paying rent and all this was one thing. But when you didn't have money to buy your daughter school clothes, it just tore him up. And, so anyway, he was more appreciative of that credit card for the $300 than anything that I've ever done for him or seen him.
So, we see Stu like hotshot poker player to like sort of like going down the tubes, I guess you could say. Were there times in there where people like yourself or maybe Doyle or anybody else sort of said, listen, Stu, you got to stop this. You got to go get some help. Tell me about those instances.
Yeah, so many poker players tried to help Stewie. I mean, all the high-stakes players, Doyle, Chip Reese. Chip said, Stewie, I'm going to send you to this rehab center. When you get out of this rehab center, I will stake you in the highest poker games in the world. You'll always be in the biggest game. I'll put you in action, And Doyle did the same thing. Everybody tried to get him to go. I can remember one time at the Horseshoe when he didn't come down for the 1998 World Series of Poker. He'd been staying up there a whole month. I was at the bar, ironically, with Todd Brunson at that time, and Bob Stupek comes up to us. He said, I'm trying to find Stewie. Do you know where Stewie is? And I was the only one who knew where he was. He'd been in Binion's hotel for a month. He'd never come downstairs to the World Series one day. He just stayed up there, doing crack cocaine. His fingers were soot on him and all, and I'd never been up to the room. But that night I said, yeah, I know where he is. And Stupek said, you got to take me to him. So I took Stupek upstairs. Me and Todd and him went upstairs. We went in and knocked on the door. And he said, who is it? And we said who it was. And he opened the door. and he had black soot all over his fingers. He was